Hello and welcome back to Berserker, and this is literally one of those times where I think to myself, wow, we're getting really lucky here. Now, obviously, if you didn't know already, the Northern Empire are currently in a war against the Sturgians, and of course they're at war against us. So what better way to kind of, well, stick it to them a little bit more than we are normally than by joining the Sturgians against them in a battle. Now, obviously, this is probably one of those times where I should literally just auto-resolve, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, because right away after this, I am going to be going into Epicrotea and attempting to take it as soon as possible. And hopefully, that's going to work out in our favor, because obviously, I did just see an army go in there just now, and that is pretty... well, that's going to be pretty harsh, I think, because if they stay in there, there's going to... oh, it's actually not even that bad. Look at that. It's not even that bad. There's only 242 people there without the army there. Yeah, and as you can see, they only have 266 units in their army, so I'm thinking this is pretty good. Let's start the siege. I don't want the Sturgians to be able to do anything here. That's the main thing. I do not want them to be the ones to go in to Epicrotea and attempt to take it as fast as they possibly can, because let's face it, they could easily do that. And look at this, Britannia is joining their ally Sturgia in the war against the Vlandians, apparently. The Vlandians. Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Anyway, we have leveled up, and my charm skill has also gotten to 106, so we should have another perk point, which we do, and I'm going to increase relation gain with the same gender, because we want all the lords and so on and so forth to gain more relations so that they can potentially join us in the future. At least we can try. We could try and get that to work in our favor. I'm actually thinking maybe I should go for some engineering. Although charm, as I've said before, the parade skill is just so incredibly useful that I'm going to continue just doing that, and we'll go for another point in social as well. And eventually we will hopefully be able to focus a little bit more on engineering, as well as put the last point in intelligence too. And bear in mind that I still need to level up my smithing skill as well, because there is this perk right here, known as the Enduring Smith perk, which increases my endurance by 1. And there's also another thing here which increases my vigor by 1. So that's the reason why I'm not putting any attribute points into those other ones. Anyway, let's make our way into Epicrotea, and as I said in the previous episode, this is basically the beginning of the end for the Northern Empire. Even though, okay, maybe I'm being a little bit overconfident in my analysis of that, or me even making that statement is maybe a little bit premature, because, well, let's face it, the Northern Empire does have a very significant portion of the map under their control. And if I were to decide, hey, you know what, let's take all of that, then we're actually going to be forced to be reckoned with, I think. We're going to be pretty strong at that point, and that is definitely going to be something that a lot of the other factions will be worried about. Although, I do say that, but most of the factions that are currently in the game have around 5,000 combat strength, which is actually amazing. That is kind of a bit of a miracle on our hands right there, because usually there is one faction at this point in the game that has just been murdered again and again and again, and it seems like in this case there hasn't been one, which is really strange. Usually there is at this point. Usually it's the Crusade, or it's the Western Empire, or the Southern Empire, or something along those lines. Usually those guys, they're going to be taken down relatively fast, and then as a result, they'll be eliminated very quickly, and they'll be one of the first factions to be, you know, taken out of the game. But in this particular campaign, we've not had any of that, which is very strange in my opinion. Usually we would see that almost all the time, but we haven't. We haven't seen any of that, in fact. Take out these guys. Oh! Okay. Oh, what? Why did I didn't take that much damage. Oh, wait, I've got that skill that reduces my fall damage, don't I? Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I had no idea. I forgot about that. yes, I do have that skill that reduces my fall damage by 50%. Because I was thinking to myself, yeah, I'm going to fall off. And lo and behold, there you are. I did. I did fall off somewhere. So that's pretty amazing in itself. I love that skill. That's probably my favorite perk now. Because even though I've said that everything has a price, is really great and everything, I used to think it was much better. Or should we say, it used to be much more of a favorite of mine than it is at this point, because at this point, they've kind of nerfed it a little bit. They've kind of nerfed the power of persuasion, and it is a little bit less effective than it used to be, which, in my opinion, is quite sad. But what can you do about it? You know, sometimes you're just going to have to modify your strategy accordingly and try and make the best of it, and hopefully we're going to be able to do that as well going forward. Obviously everything has a price is not even something that we're using in this playthrough, but it's just you know, an honorable mention of a once very strong perk indeed, and an extremely enjoyable thing to use. And the 50% reduced damage to falling, that's just great. That's just... It's one of those things that, if you're someone like me, who generally tends to fall off a wide variety of different high places, it's going to be something that is almost a default choice for you every single time. Because, as you could no doubt tell, I fell off the battlements there, right? I fell off the battlements. What happened? Well, nothing. I literally took not much damage at all, and because it's 50% reduced, I am literally getting... I would have taken 80 damage. Yeah, I would have literally taken 80 damage from that fall if I did not have that perk, which is a huge deal. That is a really huge deal. I'm going to take everything here because we don't have any more people to level up, hilariously enough. And we're just going to show Mercy here. And we are going to do a little bit of this. Thank you very much. Let's just do all this. As I've demonstrated in the previous episode, if you missed that, then you probably want to check that out, because we do a little bit of exploring in terms of the capabilities of improved garrison, and it does seem to work that vanilla training is, well, vanilla training and vanilla recruiting is the way to go, and it doesn't require a template either or anything like that. I know a bunch of people were telling me that I needed a template, but I assume that the template is probably for the regular recruiting and not the vanilla recruiting, but I'm using the vanilla recruiting just because I'm much more used to using that, and I don't really want the whole micromanagement. I don't want to have to go to all of these different places and have to, you know, work out what kind of template I want for this particular town and so on. You know, I just want to get units just smashed into the garrison as best as we possibly can, and that's pretty much it. That's the only thing I can really hope for most of the time anyway. Okay, so now we're having some issues, because now I'm gonna need a governor in here. I need a governor that is actually an empire culture, and I did have a whole bunch of oh, this guy, look at him, oh, fantastic. I can't believe it. I can't believe I got so lucky as to get this guy. And we are going to, wait a minute, yeah, oh, well, I might as well recruit some people in the meantime, but yes, we need to go here. He can now be the governor, and that's going to increase our loyalty, or reduce, shall we say, reduce our loyalty loss as much as we possibly can. Anyway, we're just going to sell my prisoners right there. That's another 3 skill points in roguery, super nice. And we're also going to go through to the ranged weapons. Look at that, 45,000, 83,000 we're going to gain from this overall. That's super nice as well. Now, I know a bunch of people have been telling me, hey, you need to give your companions some gear and stuff like that, right? Okay, so now the main reason why I didn't do that is just generally due to time constraints. I know, sometimes, you know, I do have the time, you know, I do have the time to do it, but generally, I don't have that much armor in my inventory. So, for example, if I wanted to actually equip someone, I would go to a marketplace, and then I would just try to buy some really good stuff. So, for example, this kind of thing, I would like to do that, because in general, I just don't think it's worth giving them something that is going to give them, what, 13 protection over 3. I mean, sure, yeah, that's still a decent improvement, but the main reason for it is because I'm donating almost all of my armor to my experience gain, and most of what I have is not actually that good. So, for example, this is very cheap and also really, really good. So if I get another companion and I make them into a party leader, I'll do something like this. And I'm just going to buy a bunch of these because they're pretty cheap as they are, and they seem to come in a pretty nice set, actually. Is there a... oh, there's a bunch of boots. There we go. Fantastic. There's a full set of gear. So next time we have... You know, next time we have a party member that we can potentially have join us, maybe I should gain someone now. Should I gain someone now and see what happens? I mean, this guy's 35. We want someone that is a little bit younger, maybe with better traits as well. I'm thinking this guy's looking pretty good, so let's get him. And then we're just going to... Obviously, I have a bunch of weapons, so it's not going to be that bad to get him equipped in weapons. So let's have a look at him here. There we go. All right. Can I right-click on these and do they automatically? No, they don't get automatically equipped. Can I double-click? No, can't double-click either. Okay. Gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way then by the looks of things, which is absolutely fine, I guess. Anyway, don't have a shield for him. Ah, that is a little bit of a problem, isn't it? Yes, that is indeed a bit of an issue. Ah, well, I guess I can give him a lance of some kind, and then I can give him a horse. He's actually not good at riding. He doesn't seem to be that good at riding, but I will give him a desert horse, and I'll give him one of these, which is great horse armor. And I don't have a shield for him, so I guess he's just going to have to make do with what he has. We'll just give him one of these, and there you go. Alright, so he's looking pretty good right there. These guys, they probably could do with a bit of a defeat on their hands, but it seems like they are much faster than I am at the moment, which is somewhat unfortunate. Oh well, never mind. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to create another party out of this guy. And I'm actually going to give him more units this time around. I'm going to give him more than I had beforehand. So let's give him around, I guess 40 is pretty good, right? Let's give him around 40 units, because I don't really want him to get eliminated super quickly. And yeah, it's kind of been proven that he and many other party members have been a little bit stupid with their, well, safety, I guess you could call it. Anyway, let's move over here and try and see what's happening at Resource Castle. Hopefully he's not going to get attacked. And, oh, that army has now... Okay, that's way too large. I won't be able to do anything about Justina's army, unfortunately. But I will be able to do something against this guy. Yeah, super easy. Okay, let's do this. Actually, it's not even super easy. I actually thought it was a lot easier, but now we are very even in combat strength. Well, not in combat strength, but in numbers at the very least, because I did give 40 Berserkers to our new party member. So let's just go in here and see what we can do. Hopefully I was able to restore my HP a little bit. My HP is not that good. It's about 50% at the moment, so yeah, not great, but what can you do, really? What can you do? Just gonna have to make the best of it. And I will try to do as much damage as possible before I am inevitably eliminated. No doubt it is going to happen quite soon. But apart from that, if we can eliminate this guy, then we just have to hope that Justina focuses on taking Resource Castle, and that's it, instead of actually focusing on attempting to take Epicrotea back. Because it's more than likely that, well, she'll probably try, you know. She'll probably try and take basically everything that has, well, no defense whatsoever, because it's been a while, and Improved Garrison, well, while it's good, right, Improved Garrison is very good, and what it does is obviously recruit pretty efficiently, but it takes a while, you know, it takes a while. It takes at least a week, maybe 10 days to get a suitable amount of people in the garrison there, so obviously that's kind of, that's a bit harsh in terms of time constraints, especially when you're up against it in terms of a war situation like this. Anyway, I'm just going to move my infantry over here, Seems like the enemy has just sent their advanced unit, in the form of their cavalry, of course, over to try and harass us, but that's really not going to make any difference whatsoever. As you can see, they were able to do a little bit of damage to me, but they were unable to take out anyone else, which is, of course, fantastic. And, oh dear, they have a lot of elite cataphracts still remaining. Well, that's probably going to be the main thing that will murder us. Yeah, that is going to be kind of harsh. I was actually hoping that the AI would come down here. Oh, what? They're actually coming down here. Okay. Well, I was going to say, I was going to continue on saying, you know, hopefully the AI will come down here once my units are in position, but they actually jumped the gun a little bit here, so that is making things a little bit uncomfortable, but hopefully my thrown weapon specialists will be able to do some amazing damage. At least I hope so. Yeah, not really working out too well, is it? Oh, they're killing them. They're killing them, but it's taking way too long in my opinion. Oh well, never mind. That's how it goes. Yeah, gotta be a bit careful here as well. Nice. Ooh, they're charging down into an absolute bloodbath right here. This is super, super bad for them. I really don't know why they're deciding to do this, to be honest. I feel like they are almost... I don't know. They seem to just be throwing their lives away at the moment. They don't seem to really know what they're doing or what the best course of action is. And it seems to me that they're just throwing away huge amounts of combat strength for nothing. And as I've said before in previous episodes, previous series indeed, usually cavalry contributes so much to combat strength that it is it's a huge catastrophe and an awful situation to be in when the enemy just throws away their cavalry randomly like that. Because it's really not going to do much in that case. Because now their infantry... Oh wow, I'm getting murdered. Now the infantry has no support, I was going to say. They basically have very little support in regards to on the ground. They can, I mean, they can still do massive damage, and as you can quite clearly tell, they actually did do massive damage against me at least. But can you imagine how fantastic this would have been if the cavalry had just waited or had done some kind of maneuver, some kind of strategy with the infantry in a coordinated attack. I know that a bunch of people, I've actually been sort of keeping an eye on some things in the change logs and the patch notes and so on and so forth, and obviously I do like to take a look at some of the comments on there. And this is obviously on Steam that this is happening, so if you've ever taken a look at that, usually it will provide a greater insight into what the player base is currently complaining about, or what they're concerned with, or what they think could be improved, or what they like about the game, or what, you know, whatever. All these various factors. And at the moment, a lot of people are talking about the AI. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about the AI, and they are saying the AI really needs to have some kind of revamp. And I, you know what? I think they're right. I think they're right. With the, I mean, that's the thing. Sometimes the AI is really good, and I'm talking about in a combat situation here. Sometimes they're really good in terms of actual combat skill. I don't think I have any complaints about that, although, as I've said multiple times before, they do seem sometimes a little bit too supernatural in their reaction speed. But apart from that, I don't have any complaints in terms of their combat mechanics. But the one thing that people are talking about is how they are on the world map. And obviously, as I've mentioned before, and as you've no doubt witnessed in this series, if you've watched every episode up until now, then you would have seen Nielsen do that wonderful thing a couple of episodes ago. And let's just say that he was not exactly the smartest cookie in the drawer. Yes, that is not the saying, I know. But yeah, you get my point. You get my point. So that's the reason why people are asking for better AI. So it seems like the developers will maybe have to do something about that. They'll probably have to get on that and maybe see what they can do to revamp how the AI reacts on the campaign map. Because as it stands right now, they are... I feel like they're decent, okay? I feel like they're decent. I don't think that they are as bad as they were when the game first came out. Obviously, it's been over a year now since it was released. But yeah, they're a lot better than they used to be. But they're still not quite there, you know? Not quite there. And I think, you know, I think it's gonna be looking up. It's gonna be looking up as time goes on. And I'm very much hoping that they're going to be revamping a bunch of different things as well. Like, for example, smithing. I feel like two-handed axes and two-handed maces, or hammers, they need to just be given so many more parts, because the only things that you really can get parts for are two-handed swords and one-handed swords. That's it, pretty much. Also, I'd love to be able to make bows and stuff like that too. I mean, I've obviously talked about that in a previous episode too, but yeah, you can basically just do these things. I don't know why I'm able to make throwing axes and throwing knives, but I can't make bows or, you know, crossbows or whatever. I mean, I can make javelins as well, but, you know, that's not the same thing, really. But yeah, obviously I'm getting off on a tangent here, and I'm basically just complaining about something that may not even make any real difference at the moment, because, let's face it, the main thing that we really want is, well, better AI, I suppose, right? That seems to be what most of the player base wants at the moment, especially the ones that are playing single player, of course. But, yeah, that's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens and what they decide to do with that, because every single time an update comes out, I'm always thinking to myself, wow, that's actually really cool. I didn't even think of that myself, you know? And it must have been on their radar for a while. So I have faith that they are very much on the pulse of things in the community, and they know the issues that the game has, and they're just working as hard as they possibly can to, you know, rectify those issues. And I'm just going to try and level up my smithing super hardcore right here, as you can quite clearly tell. And there you go. We're now at 195 smithing. I like the fact that they fixed that finally, where when you level up your smithing, the smithing skill actually updates in real time. Because it used to be that when you would level up your smithing level would stay at the same point as when you entered the smithy, until you went out of the smithy menu and then went back in to the smithy menu. So I don't know whether you noticed that beforehand, but yeah, that's what it used to be like. And we're just going to level up a little bit more here. 8 points. I want to get to 225 if I can. There's 225. That's actually perfect. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. That was what I was wanting to do this whole time. And there we have it. Okay, so we're now done with all of that. And I do have a bunch of two-handed swords that I can potentially sell as well. But the main reason that I wanted to do this is for the Vigor attribute point. And we also want trade penalty is halved for selling smithed weapons. Yep, probably going to take that. And 10% chance to create a masterwork weapon. Sounds pretty fun. And we're also going to be increasing our endurance by 1. There you go. Alright, perfect. Now, there's actually nothing else that I really want. As you can see, I mean, this is pretty good. Swing damage of crafted weapons is increased by 2%. But I wouldn't say that that's particularly... it's not particularly thrilling, is it? It's just literally, you know, flat percentage damage increase. And sure, that's helpful, but I wouldn't say that that is going to get my blood pumping in any way. Legendary Smith, on the other hand, is pretty fun, but I think that it's a bit too harsh in its requirements. So, for example, as you can see right here, the character has a 5% chance to create a legendary weapon. I think that's really cool, because that gives you a bunch of stat bonuses for your weapon. It makes it into a just general, more powerful, you know, tool that you can use to slaughter everyone, of course. But the chance is increased by 1% for each skill point above 300. Why? Why above 300? I don't know why that would make any difference. Why is it above 300 that it is increased by by 1%. Why isn't it above 275 when this perk is unlocked? It just means that you have to do more smithing, and eventually you're going to, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe this is fair. Maybe it's not fair. I don't know. But what I know is that I would much prefer this to not be 300. I'd much prefer it to be 275 or something like that, because at the point where you get it, it's 275, so it's 5% chance, and then every single point after that gives you 1%. So if you were to get to 300 skill, then that would be a 30% chance to create a legendary weapon. And I think at that point, you've done so much smithing that you would probably see fit to be rewarded for that, right? Rewarded for the amount of time that you've put in to that particular skill. At least I think that maybe that's how it should be. I don't know. Maybe you think differently about it, and I know some people are really hardcore when it comes to smithing and when it comes to generally leveling up skills in this game, which on the one hand, I understand it, because maybe you want it to be a really, really hard experience, but on the other hand, I feel like it should be, you know, tailored to every single different level of skill that every single kind of player will have. And I'm talking about people that have just started playing the game, and I'm talking about people that have played the game for 10 years. Not me. I've played for 9 years. Yes. Physician of People increases loyalty of settlement by 1 per day. That's actually fantastic. Might be something for me. Tier 1 and Tier 2 troops have a 30% higher chance to recover from fatal wounds. I personally don't care about that too much. Town projects that are related with sanitation and health, for example, the Aqueduct, Marketplace, Granary, also give bonus prosperity increase, and recover governed villages 30% faster. All of this is, suffice it to say, not that thrilling. I will probably take Physician of People. Loyalty of the settlement is the most important thing for me, in my opinion, so I'm going to take that, even though I'm not really the governor of our bigger fiefs, but I think, am I the governor of the villages? I'm actually not entirely sure about that, but yeah, anyway, let's go on over to, yes, Resource Castle was indeed taken, as we can quite clearly tell there, and Farok has been captured by the garrison. What? Are you serious? Because the Southern Empire has declared war on us. Ah. I see how it is. Regea. Ah. Yeah, well, there you go. It happens, it happens. No, that's not that big a deal, is it? No, not that big a deal. Alright, well, whatever the case, we're just going to be taking this back as fast as possible. I'm probably just going to go in for an auto-resolve there. We're going to lose 29 people, but personally, I don't really mind that, because it does give us a good opportunity to gain some extra skill points. I don't know whether you noticed that, but we gained massive amounts of skill in something in particular. I don't really know what it was. But skill points are skill points, you know? Anytime you can get more skill, that is a good day. So there we go. Show mercy there. Improve garrison. Let's see what we can do. There we go. Let's get around 250. I don't particularly care how many exactly, but there we are. Alright, so that's going to work out quite nicely. Hopefully we're going to get some people in the garrison relatively soon. And I'm just going to wait here for some time, because we're going to get that 20% additional regeneration bonus in there too. So that's going to be quite nice. Thorios Castle has now been besieged, as you would expect it to, by one of the Southern Empire. Yeah. That's also the reason why I was a little bit dubious about declaring war on someone ahead of schedule, basically. Because if you declare war on someone, then you are basically, you're the aggressor in that point. And yeah, it's probably not the best idea to do something like that, because then you're going to inevitably have someone else decide to declare war against you, and that's going to be pretty harsh. So Southern Empire is also at war against the Western Empire. Interesting. So they are at war against these guys right here. Ah, I see, I see. Yeah, so the reason why they did that, of course, is because we are right on their doorstep, basically. Oh, hello there. Well, this is bad. That's a very large army indeed, isn't it? That's an extremely large army, but they don't actually have anything that could be considered that dangerous. They have 23 Imperial Elite Cataphracts, but that's pretty much it. and I don't think we really have to worry too much about them, but they have a massive amount of people in comparison to us, so we might have some issues dealing with that significant amount of units. But I'm going to leave that for the next episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.